Welcome, young and old, to a terribly lit episode of Mac Music Review. But it's not my fault, man. It's just my fault that I'm recording outside and the sun is literally like in my face. Also, I feel like the camera's angled kind of weird. I don't know why that is, but anyway, today we are looking at the album God's Not Dead by Newsboys. God's Not Dead is one of the most iconic Christian contemporary music albums ever made. It turns 10 years old in 2021. Man, that makes me feel old. I think I still remember when like God's Not Dead was a relatively new hit on the radio and just loving that song. So that's crazy. Back when I just only listened to Christian radio. Despite me really liking that song, I didn't listen to the album outside of the radio hits. And by hits, I mean that one song. And I also really like the song, Your Love Never Fails. Let me check my notes. It's called Never Give Up. Your Love something. Your Love Never Fails. That's what it's called. I remember liking that song. And besides that, I didn't listen to the album a lot. But here I am reviewing it now, and I have some thoughts on this album. It's not that good. Michael Tate Newsboys in general just really isn't great. It's kind of I want to say like a hit or miss band, but more on the missing side because in general their stuff is just kind of toothless. It doesn't have a ton of personality in terms of, especially lyrically. Musically, there's a little bit of personality. Vocally, there's a little bit of personality. But lyrically, there is very little personality. And that's definitely true of this album, where the songs in the middle section kind of have, and actually for the whole album, have a more worshipful vibe than some of their other stuff. Especially more so than on Restart, and more so than on Born Again. This is their most worshipful non-worship album, because they do have a worship album. Michael Tate era Newsboys does have a worship album called Hallelujah for the Cross. I'm not going to review that one just because I don't care, but the songs in this are more worshipful in their lyrics, and it has some good songs. There are some highlights on this album. Specifically, the first 3 songs on this thing. The King is Coming is an awesome intro to the album. It just has that very big, epic vibe. And Newsboys are kind of good at that when they want to make the songs sound really huge, which is very common for 2010s era rock bands. It's just to make it larger than life kind of sound. And that's what they do on The King is Coming. Also on the song God's Not Dead. You know, where it's larger than life, but you also feel like you can sing along. You can just imagine hearing songs like these in concert and just rocking out. God's Not Dead is still a pretty great song. I still really like this song. Your Love Never Fails. It's a bop. It's got electronic elements and very modern pop sounding stuff. And it's got some personality. It's a cool song. And then the final song, I Am Second, has that similarly epic feel that most of the tracks on this album are lacking outside of the first 2 songs and then this song. That's it for highlights, though. Everything else is kind of meh. Yeah, in all honesty, I'm just not a huge fan of the majority of this album. It all kind of blends together, the whole middle section all the way to the end, until the very end, where, you know, it picks up a little bit with I Am Second. But the album is not bad. Honestly, musically, it does sound a whole lot better than Love Riot for the most part. And the mediocre tracks on Love Riot have like the most toothless production. And the production on this definitely sounds like there's more life put into it, more care in the instrumentals. The music just feels more lively and real and authentic. Also bigger and just with more energy and more passion. And it's just leaps and bounds better than Love Riot, but still an album that I'm not going to come back to outside of a few tracks, because for the most part, the lyrical content just isn't there, and there's just not a lot of personality to it, and it's just not a great time, and I'm going to give it 3 stars out of 5. Do you like this album? Because I feel like this album will be like one of those albums that's like really nostalgic, and we'll get more into Newsboys albums that are nostalgic later on in this series. We're going to take a break from the Newsboys albums and talk about the best albums of 2012. Yeah, that'll be my next video. But hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.